Dave,
Ian?
I made it.
Looks like you made it, Barry Manilow. Don't demonetize this episode, Barry.
I just drove here and boy, are my arms tired.
Yeah? Okay.
It's been a long trip.
Yeah.
I'm
How's
in
my boy?
the Great White North of Wisconsin.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of mosquitoes here.
Yeah.
It's a lot of humidity.
Uh-huh. Your hair looks great.
That is because I have been very stressed out over the last few days and banging my head against a demo that I'm working on for work and have not showered.
I smell bad.
Yeah. This is still not in smell-o-vision, so I think we're okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So we drove here the long way, as is my wife's wont.
Like through Juneau, Alaska?
Pretty much. There was one proposed route that was through Canada, and I was like, that is not... Denver to Wisconsin does not go through Canada.
At any point, was Sault Ste. Marie mentioned?
No, but I did connect my phone. I was close enough to Canada. My phone did connect to Canada, and my iPhone was like, welcome to Canada.
You're on Rogers now, bitch.
Yeah. I was not actually in Canada.
Yeah.
But yeah, we took the very long way from Denver. We went to Devil's Tower in Wyoming. We went to Theodore Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota, which was delightful. Very underrated. There's the wild ponies there, tons of bison. It was beautiful, and like nobody there. I think that the schools up there don't get out until mid or late June, and so there was nobody there. We had like the run of the place, and it was absolutely gorgeous.
Amazing. Holy cow, man. Look at this.
Yeah, we stayed down in Medora, right outside the gates there, and it was lovely. It was a great park, lots of just places to go explore, you know.
Oh, wow.
And we saw so many bison, a bunch of wild ponies, saw a big flock of turkeys. You know, it was fun.
Whoa. Okay, that's cool, man. Yeah, I never knew that was a park. Man.
Yeah,
it's got some pretty varied terrain.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah. It's part of the Badlands of North Dakota, which are all very pretty.
Yeah.
And then you go east of there, and then it's not so pretty anymore. But the Badlands are gorgeous, and I think that they're even prettier. They're prettier and definitely less crowded than the Badlands of South Dakota, which is where like Mount Rushmore is and all that.
Okay.
Badlands of North Dakota. Don't sleep on that. It's a good road trip destination for sure.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah.
And then from there we went to Voyageurs National Park. Oh,
okay.
Which is way far north. It's outside of International Falls, Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's mostly water.
Uh-huh.
But we did some canoeing, we did some exploring and hiking. We had just like a little cabin, so it was really great. The mosquitoes there are no joke.
Okay.
They are the jokes about the Minnesota state bird.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Okay. True. Were you just covered in DEET the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were ridiculous. And yeah, we did that. And you know what? We did the whole thing looking like the Colorado version of the Clampets. I have a picture of our car.
Okay. All right.
In the Talk Abouts folder.
Yeah, let me pull this up. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Current show. Here we go. Let's see. What's this one called here? The Colorado version of the Clampets. Okay. All right. Here we go. Yes. Okay. So we have 4 bicycles. There's
a roof 3 bikes on the back.
Yeah.
A bike on top.
Uh-huh.
A roof box that is packed full, and a rear hatch that you cannot open or things will fall out.
Okay.
Dave, we were in such, like, it felt, I've told Jenny that it felt like we were in like a fugue state when we were packing the last day before we left, because we had basically, our situation is we had to move all the shit out of our house.
Right.
Some of the shit,
everything.
Most of our shit went to a storage unit.
Right.
And then the remainder from that went to a temporary apartment in Denver.
Okay.
Then when we were done with the temporary apartment in Denver, a lot of shit went into this vehicle in front of you. A lot went to the storage unit. Some of it went in my car, which is now in a storage unit, acting as a storage unit.
You have a Russian nesting doll of crap.
Yes, we do. And you know what? We don't have that much crap. Like we live a fairly, but still just like a family of 4.
Right.
There's just so much shit. Yeah. And we had so much stuff that we were convinced was going to make the cut. I spent the day that we were going to like jam into the all track. And I spent the day before like literally like deflating footballs and balls that the kids wanted to bring so they would fit. That's That's how tight on space we were.
There was no space for air.
There's no space for air.
Right.
You gotta get rid of some of this air, guys. This air is out of control.
I'm gonna need you to exhale before you get in the car.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. One of the things, so if you zoom in on the bike on the top there.
Yeah, on Gus's sweet BMX ride.
Yeah, Gus's little Voom bike.
Uh-huh.
You'll notice I have a pretty hefty bike lock on there.
Yes, you do.
One of the things that did not make the cut, interestingly,
was the key
for that bike lock.
No.
Yep. So I have it through the back wheel. It's like a U-lock for audio listeners. So I have like a big like steel U-lock through his back wheel attached to the bike rack. The bike rack tray. And then I have a cable going through the front of the bike, through the frame, right?
Yes.
Which is a pretty good way to secure a bike because, of course, I had also lost the key to the actual bike lock, the actual...
the fork lock?
The tray. Yeah, the fork lock.
Yes,
So it's going great all around. And I get here and I realize I don't have the key for this lock.
Okay.
And then I realized that I'm such an idiot that not only did I lose the key to the bike lock, but I also locked it to the bike tray in such a way that you could just slide it off.
I was going to say, it looks like you could just reverse the bike and get it off of here.
I don't know. I got here and I looked at it and I was immediately like, what idiot did this? No, it was me.
I've done that before. I've locked my bike up on a bike rack and then just like looked at it and just picked the entire thing up and the cable hadn't actually gone around anything. And I was like, okay, all right, we're going to need take 2.
Yeah. Well, what had happened was I had it in a way that went through the bar, through the crossbar.
Yes.
And it was working, but I couldn't get the key out. Like it was at an angle.
Just enough.
And I was like,
tension.
I'll just adjust it this way, and then I guess I don't need this anymore. I just threw that away. I don't know what happened. I was in such a panic.
Right. Yeah. So the bike. Does the bike still have the lock on the rear wheel, or did you angle grind this thing off yet?
It did not. My dad handed me bolt cutters when I got here, and I tried it, and I was like, there's no way. You know when you do a thing, and you know that it's absolutely hopeless.
Right.
You do it anyway.
Yep.
And I made the tiniest little scratch.
Yeah.
in that U-lock.
Yeah.
But then we took it to his office, and they have like a legit die grinder circular saw, like big.
Oh,
like
okay.
this,
Yeah.
like a 12-inch blade,
Yeah.
sort of thing. And it was impressive actually how well that thing held up. Like it took some doing to get it off.
They're easier to pick than they are to cut through, and they're really hard to pick. So yeah.
Yeah. So the On Guard U-Lock, I can vouch, like it did pretty well.
I was just trying to think of that brand. I knew it was Guard something. Yeah. On Guard.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
On Guard, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Just don't lose the key.
I was going to say, since I am now your previous cat's emergency contact, your former emergency contact for your cat and current storage unit access provisionary, I was wondering if you needed me to get to that key somewhere and send it to you.
Oh, I don't know where it is.
It's going to be on Jenny's keychain this whole time.
Well, and here's the other thing about this is how bad it was. Is that I have had that bike lock for years, and a long time ago, the little plastic piece that holds it on the key ring broke.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So when I'm not using it, it just stays in the bike lock.
Right. Fine. Safest place.
And and then when I am using it, I put it in my wallet.
Sure.
And I have I have a spot for it, but I got up here and it wasn't there, and I tore everything apart. Can't find it.
Okay.
Sure, it'll turn up, but
yeah,
not a problem I have to deal with anymore because power tools.
Power tools. That blue bar tape on the bike there is still looking good, buddy.
I know you did that. How many years ago now? 10 years ago?
Yeah, a long time. Yeah.
I think I bought that from you like 10 years ago, and I've just been rocking that bike. Yeah.
Yeah. Steel is real, baby. Steel frame bike.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, the only thing I had to do was like move Jenny's handlebars back. I had to like loosen them and turn them upside down and send it back so I could use the back gate.
Okay.
But we did it with very saggy suspension the whole way.
Yeah. How did the car do with its new suspension and brakes and all that stuff?
It did great. I mean, it was, slow as shit the whole way here. And we got horrendous gas mileage with this whole setup.
Yeah.
But no, it did remarkably well. It had still enough performance for me to get a speeding ticket.
No, you got a speeding ticket?
I did get a speeding for the first time in years. I got
since you and I were driving through Iowa that time to go to Wisconsin, or did you have an intermediary?
No, I've had a few since then.
You've had a few since then.
That was 8 years ago.
Ian, I haven't had a speeding ticket since then, or for years before then. Oh wait, no, I have. I got pulled over. Doing like 44 and a 35. Yeah. 12th Street.
You got a ticket for that?
Yeah. Yep. I was on my phone with my mother on the way home from work, and I just said, "I'm getting pulled over," and threw my phone in the passenger seat. Yeah. Yep.
Amazing.
Yep.
No, yeah, it was like one of those counties where like they dropped the speed limit for like 300 yards sort of thing.
Yep.
And I mean, saw, this coming down the road.
Yeah.
And so
at least they didn't try to pull like the whole "we're searching your entire car for marijuana" thing. Like, yeah, thankfully.
Well, I think they saw the 6-year-old asleep in the back like this, and realized like that's probably not gonna go well. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It would be more of an issue waking him up than anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm sorry you got a speeding ticket. What was how fast were you going, and what was the speed limit?
The speed limit was in that little section was 60.
Uh-huh.
Everywhere else in the state it was either 75 or 65.
Right.
I was doing 75.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, man.
That's fine. I mean, I had been speeding for, let's be honest, the previous 2,000 miles. So I was doing. And I also got pulled over a couple weeks ago and got off with a warning.
Ooh, my boy.
At the airport.
No. Like where it like suddenly drops to 35 when you make that
Where
curve
it's
north
dropped
to go
35.
to.
It drops to 35, and I was doing more than that in my red car. And I mean, like, it was a full on, like, it was a motorcycle cop, and I saw him standing next to his thing with the radar gun. I saw him lower the gun, and I just immediately just put my blinker on and just turned off the car and rolled to a stop and was just waiting.
Yep, had your
Like, I was
license.
stopped before he had pulled out.
Yep. Yeah. Like, there's no point in running, Ian. They're gonna follow you by the chips of clear coat that you leave on the road.
Yeah. Well, and also I'm at an airport. Like,
yeah.
I gotta run at an airport. There's
Right.
no hiding. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Just, okay, you got me.
Right. Yeah. Hey, at least you just got a warning. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. As someone who has been pulled over more than me, what is your you are getting pulled over advice? Give me Ian's advice. I do not say that this is what you should do, but I'm interested to hear what. Yeah, I mean, I have no frame of reference. I don't have
good legal advice.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't pretend to be qualified to give good legal advice. I will tell you what my demeanor is, so I may not be the best person to ask.
Okay.
Jenny was like, "You are so mean."
What?
I just get very terse. Like, I don't want to chat. We're doing a transaction. I'm not. They're trying to be chummy, but they're gathering information.
Right.
I don't feel super inclined to give them any. So, look, why would I make their job easier? Let them fuck up. I'm not going to fuck up. So, I'm very terse.
Okay.
But I do I shut off the car, put the keys on the thing, keep my hands visible, the whole thing.
Right.
Very direct answers.
Right.
But I will go out of my way not to make conversation.
Okay. Gotcha.
They don't need to know why I'm there.
Right. Yeah.
Although this time, so I had the 10-year-old in the back, who, it's a good thing he doesn't know my social security number, otherwise the whole world would. and I was like, he was like, how long have you been here for? And I was like, I said something like a little while. And then immediately both Jenny and he corrected me to give like exact answers. And I was just, why are you guys here? And I was like, just passing through. And Nico in the back goes, our house is getting remodeled. Oh, for fuck's sake.
With drug money.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm like trying to play it cool, and I have like two people just like helping.
Yeah, you have a couple narcs.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, they need to learn that snitches.
Exactly. What about you? When you interact with police, does your voice get very high? Do you get nervous and jumpy when you're in those sort of situations?
No, I just assume the worst, that I'm getting a ticket. I never like try to joke or do anything like that. Yeah. I think I probably default more to like a clinical conversation than right. Yeah. But I think that I will deliver specific information,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I just very, I wouldn't call it terse, but very clinical, Okay. Yeah.
No, I'm actively annoyed and terse.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a long history with police officers. Folks can find our episode if they want to find out more about that. But yeah, I have a long history with police officers, and I don't want to generalize, but I grew up around a lot of them, and I think I know. I have my way on how I handle those conversations. Yeah.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
You've seen the good and bad. So.
Yeah. I have. Yeah. But well, I'm sorry that you got a ticket, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
They're about to get me soon.
I mean, for the quantity of miles you put in, it's just a numbers game, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine all of the miles that you've driven in your life. And then imagine how much less you would have been able to accomplish if you drove the speed limit during all of those times.
You know how I think about it? Is I literally think about it as like, this is the cost of my speeding subscription.
Don't say that. Some tech asshole's going to figure that out and disrupt municipal law. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, we don't want venture capitalists and municipal city governments working together, Ian. Can you imagine how horrible that would be?
Looks to me like your county speeding subscription has lapsed, sir.
Yep. Uh-huh. Yep. Oh, you have to pay the account unlock fee.
Yeah. Otherwise, the speed limit is 15.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, speaking of overages and speeds, I'm finally getting fiber internet. Holy cow, I got T-Mobile that's scheduled to come out in mid-July to actually terminate the fiber on my internet. Yeah. No more goddamn data overages because Pappy likes downloading things. Yeah. I fired up the sim a little bit ago, okay? Because the grandkids are over right now. Fired up the sim and I'm like, okay, I'm going to download updates to Forza Horizon because the grandson Declan likes to play Forza. 200 gig update. 200 gig update. That's a fifth. That's a fifth of my bandwidth cap for the month.
That's crazy,
right?
Did you call him up? Did you call up Microsoft and be like, could you just FedEx that to me?
Yeah, I would.
Zip drive.
Exactly. It'd be cheaper to drive there, burn a Blu-ray off of their servers, and then drive home. Get a speeding ticket or two. Yeah. Think about that in the terms of like gigabytes per minute transfer, gigabytes per second transfer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's a good way to think about it.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. But,
200 gig update.
Update. This is the world we live in now, that a game can have a 200 gig update. Yeah, I don't want to sound like crotchety old man, but god damn, I bought a Game Boy. I got a Game Boy for like my birthday. Like I never had to worry about a 200 gig update. Yeah.
When was your first hard drive that was at least 200 gigs?
Oh, yeah. That was when I was living on my own. That would have been
early 2000s, maybe?
Yeah, early 2000s. It would have been in my G4 Mac computer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I kept that thing running for a little over 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that most personal computers did not have a hard drive that was 200 gigs.
Right, that could handle an update to a game, let alone have the processing power and video prowess and all that stuff.
Just the storage.
Just the storage for the update to the game.
Yeah.
Right?
Bonkers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kids these days.
They don't know how good they have it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wild. So anyway, yeah. No, I turned it off. I canceled the update. I was like, whatever bugs are there, we're going to have to deal with them until Pappy gets fiber.
That's hilarious.
Yep. Yeah, this menu might glitch out, but I'm not paying Comcast another $65 for exceeding the 1.2 tera.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I think it's 50 per. Yeah, it's like 50 per 100 gigs over or something like that, or 50 gigs over. I can't remember. It's bullshit. This is why I'm so happy to get fiber. Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
It does. It does. Yeah.
Wow.
But okay. Anyhoozle. Yeah. So I'm glad you made it up north, Ian.
Thank you.
I miss you, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to be back. And I just got here.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. And sorry we took a week off last week. It was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. I do. I do. I think that there's kind of two pieces that I wanted to discuss. So I wanted to talk, if you don't mind, taking a little bit of an emotional turn on the show for a minute. So I think that I took before the Lemons race, I took that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off before the Lemons race. I did an automotive press event that we'll talk about in another episode because I drove some stuff. I drove something I'm very excited about. We'll talk about that in the next episode probably. And then Thursday, I spent all day working on the Lemons truck and going through a lot of emotional stuff on the family side. Just dealing with stuff. Yeah. And so I really dug into working on the Lemons truck, spent all day Thursday on it. And then Friday happened. We'll talk about Lemons later in the show. And was back home on Sunday. And Sunday was Father's Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And before Father's Day, our buddy Eric, Serrated Mobius, sent me a text message telling me that he was excited to put up a Father's Day video that he's been working on. You remember his dad passed unexpectedly on the racetrack, had a stroke, and of course did not survive, right? And his whole amazing story around that, right? And Eric's journey since then. And so he's talked about his dad a bit, and I've texted to him on the side and told him how much I've really appreciated kind of how he articulates his feelings around his father. Dealing with the sudden passing of a parent is really tough. Dealing with a prolonged passing of a parent is really tough. Either way, this is not good stuff, right? And each one has its own kind of associated stuff. And grief is a really rough thing, right? Grief is really, it's a whole thing. And I think that the way that Eric talks about his dad is something that is really unique in these automotive spaces specifically, right? Because he's relaying direct emotional kind of connection with his father, and it's all through this wonderful conduit, right? Of motorsports. And he has a really great way of kind of of being very, very succinct with what he says and bringing up a lot of emotion. And, as someone who's lost their dad suddenly, I relate to a lot of it, right? And so I was really interested and excited to see what he produced for Father's Day for this video. And he texted me saying that he had it done. He was excited to put it up and to see what I thought of it. And on Sunday, initially, I started watching it and I actually had to step away. I was not ready for that. Mentally, I was just not ready for it. The gravity of it. It's a fantastic video. We'll put a link in the description to the episode. It's on his Instagram Reels. You should already be following him and the Flag Time folks anyway. But I just had to step away from it, right? And so a bunch of Father's Day stuff was kind of hitting me, and I don't think I really realized it, and we'll kind of circle back on that. And later in the day, he pinged me just to see if I had a chance to watch it. And I had a little bit before that, I had kind of made myself sit down and watch it. And it was I teared up. It was very cathartic. It was very well done and really, really touching, right? He's got a great way of packaging these stories, right? And there's some exciting things in development for him that we can't talk about, but you're going to see more of that kind of stuff from him. And I sent him a text back, and I think everything kind of hit me on Father's Day, that later in the day, because I think that all of the work that I was doing on the Lemons truck, I was doing the kill switch and the electronics and the LED lights and the radios and all that stuff, right? All of that stuff was stuff that my dad would have been so insanely psyched to see. He would have lost his freaking mind at the LED lights and all of that stuff. And I think that when I was doing all of that stuff, I was in such a headspace where I was locked in, man, in ways that I just don't get very often, And I don't know if it's it's like this weird cocktail of like ADHD meds, like finally like really being effective for me, probably peak caffeine, the stress of the race coming up, the grief of my dad, like, but that was kind of like nebulous. And like Saturday evening, like everything like really kind of like slammed together all of a sudden, right? And, you know, I had a good cry and I realized like just kind of how deep my head was in with all of the lemon stuff and like how deep I was diving into it. And yeah, you know, it was good to make that association and tie all that stuff together and like know that like a very, very like stressful and emotional time in my life, like I could kind of like see some of the things that were contributing and propping that stuff up, and kind of making that elevated environment happen, you know? So yeah, it's been a weekend, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with racing, right? It's like it can be all consuming. Like
Yeah.
it will take over your life for sure, and definitely all of your thoughts and
Yeah.
your emotions and everything. Like it's a lot, which is the appeal to it, but also kind of like the downside too. Right?
No.
Is that it will leach itself into certainly your finances and your time and
Your sleep.
else.
I slept like garbage all week.
Yeah. Well, at least you were getting ready for a 24-hour race, so that's what you have to do, right?
Yeah, a known time when everybody gets plenty of rest, right? Yeah.
I mean, when we were with the S10, when we were getting ready for that 24 hours, I mean, you know, we were up like Brian and Joe did all-nighters for like 8 nights straight or something. I mean,
yeah, you guys worked consecutive all-nighters. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I did a lot less than that, but they were doing nothing but that for like a full week. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it still might not work out, you know?
Right. Yeah. It's, I don't know. It is definitely a pressure cooker, right? And thankfully, like the team has been very well organized, you know, like there was a bit of rush and it was kind of almost more rush around nice to haves than it was tech inspection things.
Well, that's
right?
good.
Yeah. And also when I changed the oil on Thursday night, it was sparkly. We had sparkly oil on Thursday night. And so we had a couple phone calls. We discussed it as a team. I'm very thankful for Joel and Chris and Peta and Chad and Mike, the guys on the team, and just how we can talk about stuff. And there's also part of it that feels like I don't deserve them. So there's that whole like imposter shit that like is not true, right? But like your mind can be your own worst enemy sometimes. You know,
having been on a few race teams, I can say definitively that any race team does not deserve a crew member who puts in all-nighters and has no interest in driving the car. So, yeah, I would not worry about that.
Yeah. And that's it's like that, like logically, you know, things, but emotionally, sometimes they're different.
Sure.
Right. You know, but I'm so thankful for those guys and they're incredible. And we work really well together. And so I'm very, very, very thankful for that. So absolutely Joel and Chris and Mike and Chad and Peta for sure. You know, yeah, I'm in with a good group, you know?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's the best part about it, right?
Right. Yeah. And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that we have two Chris's on the team. This is why I skipped this. Chris and Chris. Yeah, we have Chris with a K and Chris, with a C. Yeah, Soul Brain. Yeah. So, nice. Double Chris. Yeah, Chris squared. Joel, Mike. Yeah, Chad, Peta, myself. Yeah. So, it was a wild time, and I think that like, so, you know, we changed the oil again. We got it out on Friday for for testing. The car ran just fine in testing. They pulled the oil that night. I can't remember. There was still a little flake to it. It was non-magnetic. We ran a magnet through everything, so I think it was aluminum block or head. Pardon me. And or I guess it could have been valve as well. But we found out later in the day, because we had to pull the head off of the engine. We had it out on the track for about an hour and 15, 20 minutes. Joel started the race. And he did great. He was turning averages of about 246 a lap, having never driven that car on the track before. But I think like if you pick the person on your team that you want to like start the race, deal with chaotic traffic and stuff like that, like Joel is the guy, right? Like he's
cool head, just turn laps.
Yep. Yeah. You know? And so he did just that. Like, the radio stuff that I set up all worked very well. I home built all of the radio kits for the team. I built our radio interface box. All of that stuff worked flawlessly, thankfully. So that was great to have like solid radio comms the whole time. Minimal crosstalk. We found a more clear channel. There were 70 teams that started on Saturday at the Lemons race at High Plains. And we were on one of the channels that you have to be licensed for. That was good. I learned a lot doing the radio stuff and I really liked it. Let me show a picture of the truck and the team. Yeah. Let me do that real quick here. Yeah. So here's the team. All right. We got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle themed Chevy HHR. Yes. Joel and Peta did this green vinyl wrap on the hood and roof, and Joel did the pillars over here. And that green looks effing sweet, man. Yeah. There's Peta there. There's that's Mike right there in the purple mask, and Chris, and then me in the freaky Donatello mask. I need to get just the cloth one. Yeah.
I'm surprised you did that because you're not a fan of the masks, right?
I am not. So like it was for pictures only, and that was it. And that was off. Yeah. And then Joel's in the car here. Yeah. Raphael here. And Peter's holding his size, for the beer that we bribed the judges with. Yeah. This is a snowboard we tacked onto the roof, and put LED lights around. Mm-hmm. This is a fiberglass fish rod that you use like for fishing cables through walls. Yeah, that I put LEDs on. Yeah.
And that's the antenna for the radio?
This up front is the antenna for the radio. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And I did the radio so that it's got an extended battery that has a USB-C connection on it. And then I put a USB power bank behind it. And then a USB port on the dash, so you never lose radio comms. Yeah. So it's always got power. Yeah. So let's see here. Here we go. Here's the car out on the track, man, sending it. Yeah. I can't remember if that's Peter or Joel driving. We were designated Class C, which you want to be the fastest car you can in the lowest class possible, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, the judges didn't give us any real big grief. We didn't really have like insane bribes. We had some beer, and when we presented the beer, we knew it was not right because they said, "Oh, the corner workers will like that." Like, not you found our favorite beer or anything. So, and then we made pizzas. Yeah.
Did they say anything at all about the car? Like, because usually a lot of times when they put you in Class C, it's because they don't think you're going to make it.
Yeah.
Is that what they said, or did they?
At one point, they were talking about the suspension. They got real hung up on the suspension, and so it's not stock suspension, but it's whatever the guy that had the car before us had on there. It's not like racing coilovers or anything, but it's not horrible, right? Mm-hmm. It's not floaty stock suspension. And so like they kept like, pushing on the car and stuff like that. And we have a sparkly new transmission. Tim, stop listening to this. Tim's one of the judges. Our buddy Timber. Don't listen to this, Tim. We have a brand spanking new transmission in the car. and we dirtied it up and faked Craigslist ads so that it wouldn't look like we spent more than we should have on the car and transmission. I got real good at using that editor in Google Chrome to change properties of. Yep, the inspector. Yeah. You can do a lot with that. That's fun.
Oh yeah, I do that all the time. You know what it's great for?
What's that?
Actually harassing your wife. I like to inspect and edit New York Times articles. It's be like big happenings happening in my pants. Just like send it.
Nice. Yeah, nice. Never underestimate nerds with free time, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And let me tell you, 100% of the time, does not work. I just get oh God.
Nice. Okay. We're looking forward to your marriage self-help book.
Yeah.
So the judges were all hung up on the suspension. And finally, like one of them like looked under the hood and he was like, "It doesn't have a fucking turbo. I don't care, Class C." He's like, "You went to Rock Auto, you bought all the SS stuff, and you threw it on there." And we were like, "No, like actually, like we have legit, like you pull receipt for the rear axle, like we didn't buy any Go Fast bits for it or anything." But like if that's the story he wants to paint, sure. Like we had the Rock Auto receipts for the stuff we did buy. And he was like, "There's not a turbo under there. I don't fucking care." And just get no penalty laps and Class C. So
yeah,
there you go.
And then so Joel opens. And then what happened?
Then Joel came in, and after about an hour and 15, we were looking at doing something like that for driver changes. The car it's the stock 2.2 liter. Super light on fuel. So like we were thinking we would fuel every other time. And it was more about like, it's almost more celebratory driver changes than it is like strategy. At this point, it's like, hey, we all built an effing race car. Let's all get a turn racing it. Right?
Yeah.
So we could have pulled longer stints. Joel could have stayed out there longer. And I think you can only do 2 hours. I don't know, like, is that true?
2 hours.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So you're capped at 2 hours. But Joel came in a little bit earlier. Chris with a K on the team had made a wonderful schedule of driver changes and like making sure people were prepped and stuff like that. He thought all that stuff through. Joel came in. Our dear boy PETA hopped in, was taking the number 2, went out for his opening lap, radio checked him when he was on the straightaway, came in loud and clear. Everything was good. And then we were starting to walk back to the paddock, and I was just like, I had failed to power on the PC initially to do the live streaming, and I managed to be able to hit the button when I was plugging PETA in for the driver change. So I was just getting ready to fire up my laptop to pull up the remote access and start the YouTube live stream, and PETA radioed in that the car was drastically overheating. And yep, and he pulled it over, stopped on the track, and they towed it in. Yeah. And so we found that it had thrown all of its coolant, which is just distilled water at the track, right? It had thrown all of its coolant. And so we tried to find a coolant leak. We couldn't initially. And then we filled it back up, started the car, and then it fired water out of the thermostat housing. The thermostat housing on these things is really weird. There's an extra port that just has a cap on it that is for like an oil cooler for some models or for some other vehicles because it's
probably
thermostats.
For turbo models, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. And, this thermostat housing is used on 4,000 different cars. Right. And, and that rubber cap had cracked and was now a super soaker. And so a lot of, PETA and Chad and I think Joel's dad like engineered a solution to kind of like to cap that because we didn't have any kind of hose that would cap it. So we got that capped and we got everything back together, but then I can't quite remember the sequence of events. We found Wendy's Frosty in the oil filter housing. So coolant and oil were mixing. So it makes what we call the forbidden milkshake for anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The subject of many a just rolled into the shop.
Right.
Yeah. Never a good sign.
No, I'm going to see if I can find a picture of it. Yeah. Have you had experience with that happening to a car that you've owned?
Not that I've owned, but I've seen it in cars that I've been helping with.
Yeah. Yeah, here we go.
It's no good.
No. Yeah. So, yeah.
Usually means head gasket.
Usually does. You're exactly right, Ian. So we compression tested the engine. Cylinder 1 was like 90 PSI, which is like 30 to 50 low. Cylinder 2 was only 70 PSI.
Ooh,
the others were a little bit higher. They were closer to 100. And when we were testing, like,
and it should be like 140, 150, somewhere in there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And this is an engine that had 200,000 miles on it. So I think the compression that we had initially tested when we were building up the car was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 125 or something. So it wasn't great, but like it's got 200,000 miles on it. Let's just run it. And so we found that water was getting into cylinders 1 and 2 really easily, and specifically cylinder 2. And so we started tearing stuff down, pulled the head off, sent Chris with the K to and his dad to run for parts and stuff like that. They got a head gasket and some other things. We were putting the timing on this engine is weird. So like, not weird in the grand scheme of like vehicle timing, but like we were able to get the cylinder heads off and keep the cam gears zip tied to the timing chain. And so like we saved some time there, not having to retime the engine. So that was cool. I think that was Joel's idea. And so I think it was about a 10-hour period of time diagnosing the issue, working on it, waiting for parts, and then finally buttoning it up when it was getting dark. And we idled it over to the judges area because I think that we had gotten a black flag, but it was for another team because they said something about spinning and we never spun. So I think it was just some kind of mix up. And Tim was there. I met Tim Burr, Judge Burr. I don't know how he likes to be addressed for the very first time. So hello, Tim. It was fantastic meeting him. So nice to see him. I met Mental for the first time in real life.
Oh, you did meet it. You did.
Yes.
Okay,
yes. So we did meet up. Yeah. It was great seeing him. So, we were kind of blessed and we took it back to the paddock where we drained the oil to make sure everything was okay. And it was not. It was just as bad, even on just 10 minutes of idling. And so there is a very big mechanical failure somewhere in that engine that's letting that happen. So,
yeah. Well, did you guys compression test it after you changed the head gasket?
We did not. Yeah, the compression tester was somebody else's. You remember that really nice guy Kevin that had like the Dodge, like the old Dodge blue truck? He's kind of a Lemons mainstay at High Plains. Yeah, he brought the compression tester by. He was very helpful. So. Very appreciative of Kevin. Super nice guy. And so we didn't have the compression tester. And, this car, it's like the 2.2 liter Ecotec is like, it's so hilarious because we have all the exhaust and everything still on it. We're still running a cat, all that stuff. It is the least dramatic first start of any car you've ever seen ever. Like to the point that like after everything was back together and they started it for the first time, we thought it didn't start, but it was running. It was so quiet. Yeah. We were like, oh. And then we were like, oh, it's running. Yeah. So, So we drained the oil and we talked about it as a team and we realized that like, we don't have a spare engine. U-pull is obviously closed, I didn't see any Cobalts or G5s in the parking lot.
That's what I was gonna say. You just go find a Cobalt in the parking lot.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, this is ours now. Yeah, so we called it at about 10:30 or so that night on Saturday night, having only turned 22 laps, I think. So yeah, Pete only got 2 laps. Joel got to about 20. So yeah,
That's rough.
it is. It is.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's what happens. Though. Sometimes you have a garage weekend.
Yep.
A driving weekend.
Right. Yeah.
You got lots of wrenching time in.
Certainly got lots of wrenching time in. Certainly going to get some more. So yeah. Yep.
So do you know, had it been overheating before PETA got in it, or was there like a dramatic failure when PETA got it?
I'm not sure. I think I might be able to pull it off of OBD Fusion on my tablet here. I might be able to pull historical CSV logs. So I'll have
one
to
of two
check.
things is true in that if that's
right.
Either a thing happened,
right,
which would be good to know,
mm-hmm.
or the coolant gauge needs to be a little more visible, right? And like a light or something, right? Like
exactly.
Those are the failure modes that, like, you know, because if it had been overheating for an hour,
yeah,
you know, that could have caused a dramatic thing.
Right. And the head gasket did not have a failure burnt on it on the head gasket we pulled. We like 2 of us checked the head gasket and we didn't see a fault anywhere. So we suspect it was within the head or within the block. I'm thinking within the block because PETA thoroughly cleaned the head and he has such a good eye, unless there was some kind of internal cracking, that maybe as he was cleaning the head, he just wouldn't be able to peek inside like the exact kind of chambers or something like that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, or, you know, I mean, it could be related to the thermostat housing thing too, right? Like if it was releasing pressure and not circulating, you got an air pocket in there or something and it wasn't circulating, and you got a hot spot in the head and that cracked during the race.
Right.
Because it was too hot for an hour and a half.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
it wasn't able to stay cool because it couldn't maintain pressure in the cooling system. Yeah.
Right.
And it's good and bad that when you're on the track, you have to run distilled water. It's good because it's certainly like you're not worried about it poisoning your body, you know.
Yeah. But you would have smelled it.
You would have smelled it. Like you would have seen pink residue, like all that stuff. Like you would have seen the crystallization and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe next time we could run UV dye in it, you know, and hit it with black lights. Yeah.
Yeah. Good, actually. I don't know if that works or not.
It does. It does. PETA has some UV dye stuff, I think. So yeah. But yeah, so you know, we're gonna pull a couple more 2.2s out of junkyards and make sure that they're good. U-Pull has a 30-day warranty, so let's see how good they are at honoring that. But yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, we're excited to get back out there for sure. I think that we're all in really good alignment as far as like this is a good core car. The cage that Chris and Chad did. Chris Silfrain and Chad did got so many compliments. It's so insanely well built. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. The judges had a lot of compliments for it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. We only failed tech inspection for one minor thing, and it was a battery tie down just because of weird wording in the rules. We corrected that in 10 minutes. Yeah. So that was the only thing we failed on tech. Yeah.
That's great for your first time through tech. I mean, that's fantastic.
My kill switch worked. I've never wired a goddamn kill switch. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That's wild, man. You got to find the fuse that runs the ignition and cut that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So lots of stuff, man. Lots of stuff. But
nice work, dude.
Thanks, man.
So are you guys going to try to be done? Is the goal to be done for September?
Oh, easily. Well before September. The goal is to like get a bunch of open lapping time in before September to fully do like all the live streaming and all that kind of like ancillary nice to have temperature monitoring and everything.
Practice driver change.
Exactly. Right.
Practice fueling.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see, man. It was my first official Lemons outing. And as like being, a foundational member of a team. And it was a great experience. And I'm very thankful for those guys, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah. I'm trying to think if I have more.
I'm excited to stay attuned to your progress too.
Yeah, right. I don't know if I have more pictures of like the dashboard and stuff that I built for it. Did I show you? Did I show them on the show?
I think you did.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, because you were showing me the plastic.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Yeah. So there you go, bud. Yeah.
Nice.
Lemons, man.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I think we have nearly done a car show already.
I think we have. We talked about cars a lot.
We did talk about cars a lot. Should I wrap it up with an album of the week?
Yeah. 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 What time zone are you even in now, Ian?
I'm in the central time zone.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Plus one.
Plus one. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go. I cannot for the life of me remember if I've talked about this album before or not.
Okay.
But it is the self-titled record from a German band called Lucifer's Friend.
Oh, really?
And it's from 1970.
Oh boy, I bet. I bet
that's
the
religious cover right there, the second one on the right. Yep.
Okay.
The creepy looking one.
I bet the religious right loved this album.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So this record, I don't know that much about it, honestly. I got it from I was helping my grandmother sort through the basement after my grandfather died.
Okay.
And I spent a full weekend in Chicago, not going to go do anything but that. And I just like organized one room. Did one room.
Sure.
And at the very end, it was like 2:00 in the morning on my last night there. And I found my uncle's old box of records and I helped myself to several of them. And this was one that I just saw the cover and I was like, well, I have to have this. And it turns out this record just rips. It's awesome.
Okay.
It's like really cool, like early hard rock sort of stuff. The opening track it came out the same year as Immigrant Song and is the same like riff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like it's the same riff, but played on different instruments and stuff. It's bizarre.
Okay.
The whole record is great. So yeah. If you want some early kind of like proggy hard rock stuff, yeah, check this out.
Okay, Lucifer's Friend. So you sniped this from Craig?
No. Other side of the family.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so
I was going to say this.
Yeah,
I was going to say this doesn't seem like a Craig album.
No, it was out of character for the other uncle as well. It was weird. It's a weird one, and I've hung on to it for a long time. I've had it for over a decade now at this point. So,
okay. Yeah.
It's a great record. Check it out.
What album do you think, if a stranger was to go through your record collection, would they see as like, okay, I get all of this stuff, but like, what's up with this? What album do you think that would be for you?
I don't know. I've got some weird stuff.
You do?
Maybe like Billie Eilish.
Okay, sure.
Billie Eilish record.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a Go-Go's record.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe something poppier.
Yeah. I think for me it'd be the Vampiros Lesbos soundtrack. Did you ever listen to that back in the day? Yeah,
no.
it was like some softcore adult foreign movie that just had like the most bizarre funk, like sitar driven soundtrack, and we used to play it in the music store constantly. And like my boss Randy, he was the best. He found it somehow probably because there was a half naked French woman on it, and played it. And like, we all just like, we were obsessed with it. And so,
like, what is this?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But we would play it in the store all the time, and people would just be like grooving out to it. And they're like, what is it? And we're like, we have special ordered like 5 copies. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I love the outlier album that like, yeah, really stands out. That's a good idea. Yeah. Okay. Well, cool, man. Well, let's put some Lucifer's Friends links in the YouTube description, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's on streaming or not, so good luck. It might just be on YouTube, but we'll figure it out. But,
yep. Wherever you can hear this stuff, we're gonna find a link to it and post it for sure. So yeah.
nice.
Right.
Well, it sounds like we are both overdue on some sleep. So
Yeah.
Anything you would like to tell the people if they enjoyed this?
Yeah, we've got some great vanity plates lately. 720-515-1391. Thank you for the plates. Looking forward to getting some of them in games. Special shout out to our buddy Mark, who, when he sends a plate, typically a very witty caption as well. So thank you, Mark. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so there you go. Text us some plates. Send them over to Blue Sky or Instagram to get them over to Ian. Yeah.
Yes. Everybody, thank you very much. We love you.